Hey, Chip, what a great keynote. Very welcome, warm welcome from the whole ecosystem community to you.
Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure.
Mary,
Yeah,
welcome. And I'm gonna step out and let you guys take it from here. I'll
yeah.
be back.
Now, I've always been excited about sharing insights from leaders like you, Mary, with the wider ecosystem community here. We've had a long history of doing these things for the last 5 years. Pre-COVID world, we used to do it in a physical setting. I almost used to call it Alcoholics Anonymous or Alliance Anonymous folks, but this is the virtual format has allowed us to reach so many more people. So thank you for giving us your time.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
So Mary is VP of Ecosystem Strategy and Management at Deloitte, but she's a multidimensional leader. And we'll talk about the 5Ds to introduce her very quickly. So let me do that. And as I spoke with Mary, realize the 5 dimensions of herself. And one of our jobs here is to actually get to know the person a little bit better. The favorite D that Mary talks about is her daughter. And Mary's daughter, Kayla, she's 11 years old, budding, creative, into music and art. And she's really excited, looking forward to the positive impact she's going to make in the world. And a little bit later, we have Gabriella talking about it and Sandy as well. So as we talk about diversity, inclusion, this is such a joy to hear Mary. She's also serves at numerous roles at Deloitte. She's had 20+ year career there. She's managing and developing the strategy for Deloitte ecosystem strategy. We'll get into a lot of that later. The third D, the second D was Deloitte. The third D is Duke. She's a avid volunteer leader at Duke University, where she got her MBA. And of course, I won't hold it against her because I went to Berkeley there. So, and Durham, she's from Durham, North Carolina, where that's home for Mary. And it's amazing how that city has come up in the last 20 years. And lastly, diversity. We talked a little bit about it earlier. She's passionate about DEI, enjoys sponsoring and meeting diverse members of the community across, whether it's women or people of color. And we have had such great impact coming out of Deloitte just in this area alone. So Mary, did I do justice to the 5Ds?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. That was a great introduction.
Thank you. So let's get right to it. And I feel like as we do these ecosystem summits, one thing that is important to understand from a person's perspective is, what motivated you into getting into the partner ecosystems at Deloitte? What was your journey like?
I would say my career has always had kind of a philosophy of like, go where the puck is going, to use a sports analogy. I would say forming ecosystems for our high growth businesses has been a priority for Deloitte for years. And even though we are not new to partnering, we've been partnering for many, many years. We have, well over 100 alliance partners, as well as other teaming arrangements we have with many other companies. Our centralization of ecosystems management and governance is fairly new over the last couple of calendar years. And so when I saw that opportunity as a way to, do something new, do something where it's a top priority of the firm, that was really exciting. And I feel like, over my career, I've been known for, building things from scratch, structuring the unstructured. So when I hear about a role that is really around like putting management and governance around something that's really important to the firm, that's just really exciting to me. Because when it's important to the firm, then you get the investment, you get the people, it's exciting, it's being talked about. And those are the type of roles that I like to take. And so this was very exciting for me to take early last year.
Fascinating. And this is really exciting time. I've seen a lot of leaders like yourself emerge now to take the ecosystem journey forward. So we're looking forward to that energy, that excitement that you bring. Can you talk a little bit about some of the key initiatives that you're leading at Deloitte right now from an ecosystem point of view? What's happening?
Sure. So my priorities are really threefold. So it's really around this, management and governance around ecosystems that I talked about. And that's really across all of Deloitte. So we have, many businesses. We have consulting, we have risk and financial advisory, we have tax as well as audit. And even though this centralization of the management and governance of ecosystems is fairly new, we always had these ecosystems out in the business. So one of the first things that I did was really, form this ecosystem governance board, where it is a group of our leaders across all of Deloitte US, where we were looking at all the different ecosystems that we have formed in these pockets, and to make sure that we are sharing best practices, sharing assets that we've built, right? So many times another business might be needing some sort of asset to build a business that they are that is aligned to their strategy, and they can be leveraging something that another part of Deloitte has built. And without that governance model and without that connection across this board, not everyone's always talking to each other. So that's one of the things I think over my career I've also been known for is collaboration and connection. So creating this board was really important because we want to make sure that we're all connected, so we're not reinventing the wheel every time, and that we're really making impact in a very cost-effective way. So that's one. Second is really around ecosystem partner selection. So I work very closely with our innovation group, which is phenomenal. Our innovation group is, helping to build these high growth businesses. And when I say a high growth business, I'm talking about, millions and millions of dollars of investment that the firm is making into build these asset-based businesses. And so my role is working with the innovation group to really help select who those ecosystem partners should be. And that's based on many things. That's based on the partnership history we've had with that partner. It's based on the strength of capability. It's based on the alignment of mission and vision of that partner with what we're trying to build. Because obviously that's very important to know, like, they've already invested in this. This is not the first time. And also, it's very important also to see a positive trend in their product roadmap, right? Are they always building and investing and innovating? Because that's important to us as well. So that ecosystem partner selection is a big part of my role. And I sit within our ecosystems and alliance organization. So, my relationships with all of our alliance partners obviously comes into play, but we partner with more than just alliance partners. They can be startups as well and anything in between. So we don't discriminate unless the company is an audit client, then we have to discriminate because of our independence restrictions. We can't partner with an audit client, but other than that, we are very open to partnering with all types of companies, different sizes, different technologies. And then the last part of my role is really around then the management of those ecosystems. So many of the ecosystems that we're forming, we are the orchestrator, right? You can think of us as, the quarterback, if you will. And we need to make sure that those relationships across the ecosystem are managed in a very productive and in a very positive way. We're a relationship company at our core. So we need to make sure that those relationships stay strong and our communication is very strong. And I'll talk about, the impact that Workspan we know is going to have to our ecosystem community a little bit later, but we really think that, using Workspan will really help us in the management of those ecosystem partners to make communication more effective and productive, to make the co-selling and co-marketing and co-investment, co-solutioning motions that much more better for us and our partners.
Fantastic, Mary. Let's stay a little bit at the ecosystem strategy and consulting ecosystem that you've driven. I wanted to understand, from a competitive standpoint, competitive advantage standpoint, why is establishing these high-performing ecosystems important to you, and how are you doing it?
Yeah, so I think when you think about Deloitte, we're a behemoth company. Chip said it, we're the largest professional services firm in the world. We're $50 billion globally. We have 350,000 employees across the world in 150 countries. And people think of us as a services company, and we are a services company, but we're also building these asset-based businesses and wrapping services around it. So it's very important for us to build these businesses to, of course, be profitable. And in order to do that, you have to select the right partners, and the management of those partners is oh so important. So I think that's the reason why it's important. And the reason why we need to do this is because our competitors are doing this, our alliance partners are doing this. So if we don't do this, we'll be behind, and we don't want to be behind. We like to lead from the front. So we believe that our competitive advantage as a firm is multiple things. We bring a tremendous amount of industry and functional knowledge. That's what our clients really value in us. We have tremendous people that are some of the smartest people in the world. And we have these amazing partnerships with over 100 alliance partners, as I mentioned, and other organizations as well. So that helps that we have these strong relationships with not only our partners, but our clients. And it gives us that competitive advantage to do what we need to do around ecosystems.
Yeah, fascinating insight. It's you busted your own silo. It's not just services; it's actually joint solutions or these assets that has IP in them. If you think about it, so joint solutions that are vertical focused, horizontally focused. For example, Deloitte's tax optimized supply chain solution is the world's leading solution around supply chain processes, as an example. Vertical solutions around telecom and media and AI, for example. This is fascinating to see that what end customers are needing, you guys are delivering not just with services, but with IP and product as well.
Yeah, I think it helps that we work in pretty much every industry, and we're very industry focused. We like to focus on our client issues. So many of our high growth businesses that we're building are industry focused. Some of them are cross industry, but many of them are industry focused, and our industry knowledge there really helps to power them how we need to really make them high performing.
Fantastic. And I also observed that previously we used to look at marketplaces, and a lot of these marketplace solutions used to be ISV solutions only. We're excited to see Deloitte solutions creeping up in all sorts of marketplaces, from AWS, Microsoft, to SAP's marketplace, and now VMware's marketplace as well. So that's a cool trend. Yeah, let's shift gears in terms of the partnering process itself, and what kind of partners does Deloitte work with? You mentioned the whole spectrum from startups to large companies. A lot of people here are from companies representing companies who would love to partner with Deloitte, right? So what kind of companies do you partner with, and what does that process kind of include? Can you do a double click?
Sure. So as I said, we partner with the behemoth companies that you can think about, but also we partner with startups. We really partner with partners that really give us the value that we need to make progress on what we're trying to build. So that can be the quality of technology. It can be the client feedback, market feedback that we're getting on that partner, because it's important for any partner that we invite into our ecosystem to improve our credibility in building this business and selling it. It's around partnership history that matters as well. Are they easy to work with? Are we easy to work with? Do we have a good sales and revenue history? Are our missions and visions aligned? Because as I said, that's so important, because we want to make sure that our partners are getting involved in businesses that they want to be in and that they've already invested in the past. We don't always want them for this to be their first time investing in something like this. We want a track record of a success in that space, because that only helps to build the brand of what we're trying to build even better.
Awesome. Now let's pivot a little bit towards Workspan. We are so excited to work with you, Mary, as powering the Deloitte ecosystem. So how do you think Workspan will help you engage better with your partners?
So, when we work with our clients, we're always trying to make them more efficient and automate their processes, make them best in class. We try to do the same thing internally as well for our own processes and operations. So we have actually a very in-depth process at Deloitte. Anytime we're using any kind of tool, we put it through the ringer. We need to make sure that it passes our independence requirements, it doesn't bring a risk to the firm, but also that it is truly the best product in the market for the use case that we need. And so we brought Workspan through that process over about a 10-week period, where we made sure that it was a secure platform, that it aligned to our use cases, that we don't have something already that we're using or nothing better in the market that we could use before we make this decision to pursue Workspan. And so we did a very in-depth due diligence process, and we really found Workspan to be really the best for what we need for ecosystem collaboration. Some of our ecosystems are quite large. They're over 20 partners. So you need some sort of online platform to do that. And when we saw the capabilities in co-selling, co-marketing, co-investing, co-solutioning, like that was exactly what we needed. We wanted to limit the emails, limit all of the spreadsheets that are being sent. We really want that in an online platform so that we can share and integrate into our CRMs, which I think is amazing. We use Salesforce as our CRM, and I know you have a native integration in Salesforce, so that was a big winning detail as well. Just everything we were finding out about Workspan, we said, this is the platform for us. So we are excited to be one of your newest partners, and we're excited to bring our partners on board to the platform as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mary, for that trust. I really appreciate it. And thanks for the due diligence across the board. It was fantastic. Throughout this evaluation, one thing that struck to me was there's always been older generation and PRM tools, let's put it this way, that serve the channel ecosystem really well. And a lot of folks in the ecosystem community who manage the coming together from the channel to the ecosystem, to the ISV, to the hyperscaler and the SI ecosystem, all of it as an ecosystem tool. They're grappling with how do I think about partner relationship management versus, more of a network ecosystem platform. How did you make that decision, and what advice would you have for others who are kind of looking at making that decision?
I would say one of the, the winning qualities of Workspan, I know I listed many already, but it was not only, the native integrations you have with CRM tools, but it's also the network platform that you have. The fact that when we looked at our over 100 alliance partners, more than half of them were already on your platform. And that mattered to us. One, because the partners that we respect also have trusted Workspan for their activities, but also the fact that it would be just that much easier to use Workspan as a tool because half of our partners are already on it. So just limits the onboarding. It limits the integrations that are necessary because the integrations are already there. The native integrations that the Workspan platform has was really a lot of, some of the winning moments during our process in doing the due diligence. So I value that quite a bit because it's proven, right? If you have an integration and you've done it hundreds of times, that means something, because Deloitte doesn't always like to be the first to do something. We don't want to be the testing ground, but we like to use proven tools, and we really feel that Workspan is a proven tool.
Awesome. I've opened, Chip has opened the questions for the audience, and there is a lot here already. So I'm going to ask a few curated from the list. So folks who have just joined in, we're talking to Mary Sawyer from Deloitte. She's given a brief overview of her role and everything. And what we are now going to do is take some audience questions as well. So feel free to raise your hand and ask. The mic will be open and you can ask a question live. You can also post your questions on the chat line here, and Chip and I will do our best to get through all the questions. And in keeping with our tradition, this is not a shy bunch, Mary, so just feel free to take as many questions and respond candidly. So one of the first questions I see here is, what is the difference between an alliance partner versus a very strategic partner to you? How do you kind of decide who's really very strategic to you?
So I think, there's many different reasons why we partner with various companies. An alliance partner to us means that there is going to be opportunity after opportunity that comes across our plate that we want to partner with that partner for specific use cases. Some alliance partners are for a specific area and maybe don't go well beyond that area. And then others are really span so many different use cases. We can pull them into so many different opportunities, but both are equally valuable to us. Because really, as I mentioned, that we, really serve all industries, so many markets. So that's why we need such a diversity of alliance partners, because when you have that diversity, then you can actually fit the opportunity to the partner that is best, because we have so much choice. And then we also partner with those organizations that are not alliance partners yet. A lot of times we like to, test them in the market, date them a little bit before we actually form an alliance relationship with them. So we partner with many more than the 100+ alliance partners that I talked about. We partner with probably hundreds and maybe even thousands of organizations, public organizations, private organizations, universities, you name it. We partner with many of them. And really, it's around those things that I talked about that really make a partner a strong one, which is around strength and capabilities, partnership history, how easy it is to work with them, the positive trend of their product roadmap. It's really important to us that they're investing in themselves for us to invest in them.
Mhm, mhm. There's a question around, we've known alliances and they can always get better, or relationships can get better. Is there an example of something new that you're forging just because you have an ecosystem strategy?
Sure. So one of the things that we've hit the market with, so many have probably heard of this, is the Smart Factory. So the Smart Factory is really around bringing to life the manufacturing's grade eight use cases. So the Smart Factory that we've built is a physical location on the beautiful Wichita State University campus. We have a state-of-the-art facility there where we actually have a smart factory floor that our clients can come through and walk through, so they can envision how their legacy factory floor can become smart and more new age. The facility, as I mentioned, is pretty phenomenal because we do have the factory floor all built out, digitally enabled, so they can really envision their factory on this floor. We even have a robotic barista to give you coffee. The facility is going to be, net zero in the next year, because that's very important to us, our carbon footprint. So it's a fantastic facility. But then, of course, there's an actual solution that we're bringing to the client as well. So once we bring them through this facility to see kind of the art of the possible, we can do a variety of things for them in their legacy factory floor. Use cases around factory asset intelligence, quality sensing and detection, plant consumption and energy management. There's so many different things that we can do. It's really the art of the possible is really significant, and we are very excited. We just opened up the facility in the last few months. Internally, we're doing more of a live launch this summer, but we're excited to bring clients in and show them what we got, because it's quite a big investment by the firm, as well as our 20+ ecosystem partners that we have partnered with.
Wow. So opening up digitization of verticals such as manufacturing with partners, showing end solutions that actually work, bringing the old to the new digital world. That's awesome. That's right. I'll take one last question and then we'll move to the next panel. Eric is asking, Alliance Governance Board is an interesting concept. I haven't seen many companies do it. What's been the secret sauce for that at Deloitte?
I would say, our ecosystem governance board, the reason why it's so, I would say we've made progress is making sure you're selecting the right people to sit on it. It's got to be the people that can make the decisions. It's got to be the people that once they see progress, they continue to invest and push it forward. So it's got to be the right people. You have to engage them the right way as well. You have to share information so people can consume the information and act accordingly. So we have a very set agenda. We meet every month with our council, which is more of our working team, and then with our steerco every quarter to make sure that we are keeping everyone updated on all that we're doing across the firm, because as I said, Deloitte is a huge firm. It's hard to keep every single person updated, but I think when you have the right leaders in the room, in the Zoom room, you'll be able to do that, because then they can push down the messages to their team. So selecting the right people on that board is important, and then having an agenda that's exciting and makes people want to attend and makes people want to consume the information in order to share it, I think is also important. And I think we've done a pretty good job over the last 6 or 7 months that we've had the board together, because we're actually making progress. And that's what I like to do, is make progress. If you're not making progress, then what's the point?
Yeah, I'll ask one more question because Rudy there's a flurry of questions, by the way, Mary. So feel free to take over the chat line and respond questions that we are unable to ask live this way. So there's one more question from Rudy saying, hi, Mary, impressive track record in your ecosystem. Do you have a fast track? You mentioned startups and, a bit, so I assume your diligence process is lighter. So maybe a question around multi-phased, multi-speed onboarding.
So, I think, the fast track is all determined by our history with that partner and also with the client and market feedback, right? Sometimes the capabilities of a particular partner and the strength of reputation and credibility they have in the market is just so overwhelming that we can partner right away. right? Because it's just an exact match, like the use case and fit with the partner's capabilities makes so much sense. Sometimes it's more of a slow roll, and I think it just depends on each partner's capabilities and their willingness to work with us, our willingness to work with them. But I will tell you, when there is demand and when there is a nice fit, not only of technology capabilities, but also a culture fit, I think it tends to fast track.
Awesome, Mary. This is such a delightful conversation. Thanks for sharing the morning with us, and feel free to stick around and answer some questions on the comment. I know your time is very, very precious, so thank you for spending it with us.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to work with your Workspan team over the last several months and inviting me to this summit to speak. So thank you very much. Anytime.